Hey everyone, it's Monday morning, June 9th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella. Since it's Monday, that means it's time to dive into the big market movers for the week ahead. It's going to be a busy one, so let's get straight to it. Before we begin, a quick note. Today's episode is sponsored by AMF Capital Asset Management Frankfurt. For tailored investment solutions and top-quality mutual funds, visit amf-capital.de. So let's start with some big-picture momentum. The S&P 500 is now about 2% away from hitting a fresh all-time high. Not too shabby, right? Last week ended on a high note after Friday's May jobs report came in, and that really lit a fire under stocks. All three major indexes posted gains for the week. The Nasdaq jumped more than 2.3%, the S&P 500 was up around 1.6%, and the Dow climbed a bit over 1%. A solid finish. Now what's coming up? Well, this week's headline data will be all about inflation. Both consumer and wholesale updates for the month of May are dropping. And toward the end of the week, we'll also get the University of Michigan's first consumer sentiment reading for June. These numbers will definitely help shape expectations for what the Fed does next. Over on the corporate side, it's kind of a quiet week, but there are still some names to watch. We've got earnings coming in from GameStop, Oracle, and Adobe, and tech eyes will be glued to Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference. That always comes with some surprises. Now let's circle back to Friday's jobs report for a second. The U.S. economy added 139,000 jobs in May, and the unemployment rate held steady at 4.2%. On the surface, that sounds like good news. It cooled worries that the economy is slipping fast, and a lot of economists now expect the Fed to keep interest rates unchanged at its June 18th meeting. Now let's talk about the drama between Trump and Musk. Yep, we've got a full-on feud now. It all started with Elon Musk criticizing Trump's tax policy. Trump fired back hard on Truth Social, saying the easiest way to save money was to cut Elon's government subsidies and contracts. He also claimed he ended an EV mandate that Elon supposedly needed, and let's just say things escalated from there. The fallout was fast. Tesla stock took a major hit, falling over 14% in a single day, its worst ever market cap drop. That dragged down the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq on Thursday. It bounced back a bit on Friday, but the damage is done. And some investors are worried that the clash could have long-term consequences, especially with Trump potentially having 3.5 more years of influence. All right, let's shift gears and talk inflation again. After a few months of cooling, inflation looks like it may have picked back up in May. Wall Street expects the Consumer Price Index to show a 2.5% annual increase, up from 2.3% in April. That would be the first acceleration since early 2021. Core inflation, which leaves out food and energy, is expected to rise 2.9% year over year. And on a monthly basis, it's expected to clock in at 0.3%. Finally, about those tariffs, there's still uncertainty, but it's not rattling markets like it used to. Barclays strategist Venu Krishna says investors have kind of come to terms with the idea that the worst of the tariff shock is behind us. The Trade Policy Uncertainty Index has actually been falling, and volatility, measured by the VIX, is moving lower as well. Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson put it this way: the risk is still there, but the pace of change in policy is slower, and that's helping both companies and consumers feel a bit more confident. All right, folks, that's your quick shot of capital markets for the week ahead. Stay sharp, and let's see how it all plays out.